Spirit Lake, located in the northern part of Idaho, is a place that has fascinated and unsettled people for generations. Surrounded by the rugged mountains of the Rocky Mountains and tucked within the dense forests, the lake has long been known for its haunting beauty and eerie reputation. But what makes Spirit Lake truly unique isn't just its peaceful, scenic appearance. It's the many strange stories and mysterious occurrences that seem to follow it. The lake itself is stunning, its calm waters reflecting the surrounding forest and towering mountains. But those who have ventured there, particularly at night, often speak of a strange feeling that lingers in the air. Locals who live near the lake tell stories of an unsettling energy that seems to emanate from the water and the forest surrounding it. The area is peaceful by day, but once the sun sets, something shifts. Visitors have reported a sense of being watched or followed, as if the very land itself is aware of their presence. Some say this strange feeling can be traced back to the long history of Spirit Lake, an area that has been the site of several tragic and mysterious events over the centuries. Before European settlers arrived, Native American tribes lived in the region, including the Coeur d'Alene and Spokane tribes. These tribes have their own stories of the lake, some of which tell of strange spirits that haunt the waters and forests. According to the legends, these spirits were once part of the land, and they never truly left. This connection to the past only adds to the lake's mystique, but it wasn't just Native Americans who would become part of the lake's mysterious legacy. As settlers began to move into the area in the mid-19th century, Spirit Lake became a popular spot for mining and timber industries. The people who came to the region faced challenges of a different nature, conflicts with the native tribes, rough living conditions, and sadly, a number of untimely deaths. Many of these early settlers, in their desperate attempts to tame the wild land, met with accidents or were struck down by the harsh conditions of the area. One particularly tragic incident was in the late 1800s, when a mining camp near the lake was destroyed in a terrible fire. Many lives were lost that night, and the spirit of the camp's workers are said to still haunt the area, especially around the lake where they once worked. Some claim to see shadowy figures or hear strange, ghostly sounds drifting across the water, sounds that seem to echo from the past. Though these tragedies are long gone, their memories seem to linger at Spirit Lake. The unexplained events that occur in the area could very well be tied to this troubled past, leaving us to wonder, are these simply the figments of an overactive imagination, or is there truly something otherworldly about Spirit Lake? From ghostly figures walking near the water's edge to reports of strange noises echoing in the night, Spirit Lake has become a place that is as much shrouded in mystery as it is in natural beauty. Some visitors come searching for answers, while others simply leave with more questions. But one thing is clear. Spirit Lake isn't just any lake. It's a place where the boundary between the living and the dead seems almost non-existent, where whispers of the past can be heard in the present, and where the supernatural may just be closer than we think. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the eerie legends that have shaped the haunted reputation of Spirit Lake, exploring the strange sightings and paranormal events that have left people scratching their heads and questioning what they truly believe. As we move further into the story of Spirit Lake, the question remains, what makes this place so haunted, and what is it about Spirit Lake that has drawn so much attention from paranormal investigators and curious visitors alike? To understand this, we need to look at the eerie legends that have surrounded the lake for centuries. From the earliest Native American stories to modern-day ghost sightings, one of the most famous legends tied to Spirit Lake is the story of the woman in white. According to locals, this ghostly figure has been seen wandering the shores of the lake, always dressed in a flowing white gown. She's often seen near the water's edge, gazing out across the lake as if waiting for someone. Some say she is the spirit of a woman who tragically drowned in the lake many years ago. Others claim she is a more ancient figure, a spirit tied to the land long before settlers arrived. Whatever the origin, this mysterious woman has been a constant presence in local stories. The tale of the woman in white is not unique to Spirit Lake. Similar stories of ghostly women in white have appeared throughout the world, often associated with tragic deaths or unfulfilled love. What makes the apparition at Spirit Lake so unsettling, however, is its persistence. Over the years, many people have reported seeing her, and each time, her appearance sends a chill down the spine of those who are lucky, or perhaps unlucky, enough to catch a glimpse. But the woman in white isn't the only spirit said to haunt the area. Many people who have visited Spirit Lake at night claim to hear strange noises, mysterious whispers, disembodied voices, and even the sounds of footsteps on the shore. These noises seem to come from nowhere, echoing across the water with no clear source. Some believe these sounds are the voices of those who died in the area, particularly the early settlers who met untimely ends in this harsh, wild land. One of the more chilling accounts comes from a local fisherman who, while out on the lake at night, reported hearing a woman's voice calling his name. At first, he thought it was a trick of the wind or the sound of his own imagination, but the voice grew louder, more insistent, and clearer. He described it as if someone was standing right next to him, but when he turned around, no one was there. The voice seemed to echo over the water, getting fainter and fainter until it disappeared altogether. Another common phenomenon at Spirit Lake is strange dreams and visions that people experience after spending time near the water. Some visitors report having vivid dreams of people from the past, often strangers who seem to have no connection to them. Others describe waking up in the middle of the night with a sense of dread, as though something or someone was watching them. It's as if the lake itself has a way of drawing people into its eerie grasp, even while they sleep. Many of these strange occurrences are tied to the lake's unique geography and history. Spirit Lake is surrounded by dense forest and towering mountains, creating an isolated atmosphere where the sounds of nature often seem to be amplified. The stillness of the water at night only adds to the sense of unease. It's in this atmosphere that people feel the most vulnerable, and where the line between the natural world and the supernatural can seem the thinnest. The lake's history is another factor that may contribute to its haunted reputation. For hundreds of years, Spirit Lake was a site of spiritual significance to Native American tribes. The Coeur d'Alene and Spokane tribes, among others, used the area for hunting, fishing, and ceremonies. In their belief system, certain places in nature were seen as portals to the spirit world, where the living and the dead could coexist. Some have speculated that Spirit Lake may be one of these sacred places, a location where the boundary between life and death is particularly fragile. This connection to the spirit world is often cited as an explanation for the supernatural events that occur at the lake. Could it be that the spirits of those who lived and died near Spirit Lake have become trapped between worlds, their restless souls continuing to wander the land they once called home? Is the lake itself some sort of natural portal that draws in these energies, creating a place where paranormal phenomena are more likely to occur? Despite the many stories and legends, one thing is clear: Spirit Lake is not a place easily forgotten. The strange occurrences, the ghostly figures, and the unsettling atmosphere have left a lasting impression on all who visit. But as we'll see in the next part, it's not just local legends that fuel the haunting reputation of Spirit Lake. Some of the most compelling evidence of its supernatural activity comes from modern-day witnesses and paranormal investigations that have taken place at the lake. These accounts add a new layer to the mystery, suggesting that the haunting of Spirit Lake may be more than just folklore. It may be something real. As the legends of Spirit Lake continue to captivate those who hear them, many have sought to uncover the truth behind the eerie happenings at the lake. Paranormal investigations have been conducted over the years in an effort to gather evidence of the supernatural and determine whether the stories are rooted in reality. The lake's strange energy and history have made it an attractive destination for investigators, and their findings only serve to add to the growing list of strange and unexplained events. One of the most notable investigations took place in the early 2010s when a local paranormal group, the Idaho Paranormal Research Group, decided to investigate Spirit Lake, armed with cameras, audio recorders, and other ghost hunting equipment. The team set out to capture evidence of the mysterious occurrences reported by so many visitors to the area. The team spent several nights at Spirit Lake, carefully documenting every moment in an attempt to capture any paranormal activity. During their investigation, they recorded a series of strange and unexplained noises. Some of these noises included eerie whispers and distant footsteps that seemed to come from no discernible source. These sounds, captured on high-quality audio equipment, were analyzed by experts who confirmed that they could not be explained by environmental factors like wind or animal sounds. The most compelling evidence from the investigation came when the team reviewed the footage from their cameras. In one particular video, taken on a foggy night, the team noticed an odd figure moving in the distance near the water's edge. The figure appeared to be a shadowy shape, too vague to make out clearly, but it moved with a deliberate, purposeful pace. When the team went to check the area, no one was there, and no sign of anyone having been present could be found. Further footage from the investigation revealed strange flashes of light that seemed to come from nowhere. At one point, a small orb of light appeared on the camera's infrared footage, floating just above the water's surface. The orb moved in an erratic pattern before disappearing from view. Such phenomena, including unexplained lights and shadowy figures, have been reported by other visitors to the lake, suggesting that Spirit Lake may indeed be a hotspot for supernatural activity. But it's not just audio and video evidence that has drawn the attention of paranormal investigators. Many witnesses claim to have experienced physical sensations while at Spirit Lake, sensations that they can't easily explain. Some people have reported feeling sudden drops in temperature, as though they were walking through a cold spot. These temperature fluctuations are often accompanied by a sense of unease, as if something unseen is nearby. Others have reported a strange heaviness in the air, sense of being watched, or an overwhelming feeling of dread that washes over them as they approach the water. A particularly unsettling experience took place in the summer of 2012, when a group of campers spent the night near the lake. They reported hearing footsteps approaching their tent, only to find no one there when they emerged. The sound of branches snapping underfoot was audible, even though no one was around. Later that night, one of the campers claimed to have seen a figure standing on the shore, just beyond the edge of the trees. The figure, cloaked in shadow, appeared to be watching the campers. When the group turned on their flashlights and approached, the figure disappeared without a trace. These accounts, along with many others, have helped to solidify Spirit Lake's reputation as a place where the supernatural is more than just a story. It is an experience. The investigation team's findings, along with the personal accounts of those who have spent time near the lake, suggest that something unusual is happening at Spirit Lake, and it may not just be the product of local folklore. Some investigators have proposed that the strange occurrences at Spirit Lake could be the result of residual hauntings, ghostly energies left behind by traumatic events that occurred in the area's past. The history of the region, with its conflicts between Native American tribes and early settlers, is filled with violence, tragedy, and death. Could it be that the spirits of those who lived through these turbulent times still linger in the area, their energy trapped within the lake and its surrounding forests? Another theory posits that Spirit Lake may be a place of spiritual significance, where the veil between the living and the dead is particularly thin. In many cultures, certain locations are believed to be portals to the afterlife, where spirits can cross over from one world to the next. Some paranormal investigators speculate that Spirit Lake may be one such place, where the spirits of the deceased are able to interact with the living. Regardless of the explanation, The evidence collected by investigators at Spirit Lake remains compelling. While some skeptics may dismiss the findings as coincidence or misinterpretation, the fact that so many people have experienced strange phenomena at the lake suggests that there may be more to these stories than meets the eye. In the next part of our story, we will explore the area's troubled history in more detail, shedding light on the events that may have contributed to the lake's eerie reputation. From the tragic deaths of settlers to the ancient rituals performed by Native American tribes, Spirit Lake's past is as mysterious as its present. What role has history played in shaping the haunting experiences that continue to perplex and terrify those who visit the lake today? Let's find out. Spirit Lake, located in northern Idaho, is not just a place of eerie legends and strange occurrences. It is also a site deeply rooted in a history of conflict, tragedy, and untold stories. To understand why the area might be so rife with paranormal activity, we must look back at the events that have unfolded around this lake over the centuries. The land that now surrounds Spirit Lake has seen a number of tragedies, many of which involved death, violence, and loss. These events could have left a lasting imprint on the area, contributing to the strange happenings that continue to this day. Before European settlers arrived, Spirit Lake was home to several Native American tribes, most notably the Coeur d'Alene. This indigenous group inhabited the region for centuries, living off the land and water. They held deep spiritual connections to the lake, and it was considered sacred by the tribes. According to some tribal accounts, Spirit Lake was known for its mysterious and otherworldly qualities. It was a place that was both revered and feared. Elders spoke of the lake being a spiritual crossing and warned the younger generations about venturing too close after dark. Some tribes believed that the spirits of their ancestors lived in the waters and that the lake had the power to both heal and harm. With the arrival of European settlers in the mid-19th century, the peaceful existence of the Native American tribes began to unravel. As settlers moved westward, they displaced many of the indigenous people, including those who lived around Spirit Lake. The Coeur d'Alene tribe was no exception. Tensions between the settlers and Native Americans were high during this time, and several violent encounters took place between the two groups. One of the most significant and tragic events in the area's history occurred in the year 1868, when a conflict known as the Coeur d'Alene War broke out. This was a series of skirmishes between the Coeur d'Alene tribe and the U.S. military, and it resulted in the loss of many lives. While the war itself did not directly center around Spirit Lake, the surrounding region, including the lake, saw some of the most intense clashes. The violence left scars on the land, and the aftermath of these events left many unsettled spirits behind. As settlers began to dominate the region, they brought with them a history of conflict with the native tribes, but they also added their own share of tragedy to the area. Many of the settlers who moved to the Spirit Lake area faced perilous conditions, harsh winters, difficult terrain, and the ever-present threat of Native American resistance led to many lost lives. The isolation of Spirit Lake meant that those who lived there often suffered alone. In the year 1885, a group of settlers who had settled near the lake were reportedly found dead under mysterious circumstances. Their deaths, along with others in the region, remain shrouded in mystery to this day. But it wasn't just the violent encounters between Native Americans and settlers that left their mark on Spirit Lake. The lake's waters have also been the site of numerous tragic drownings, many of which remain unsolved. The murky depths of Spirit Lake have claimed the lives of several individuals, and some locals claim that the spirits of these individuals still haunt the area. These tragic events, coupled with the harsh realities of frontier life, have created an atmosphere of unrest around Spirit Lake, one that seems to persist long after the original events occurred. In addition to the loss of life, the lake's history includes many stories of individuals who disappeared mysteriously. There are tales of hikers who who ventured into the forests surrounding the lake and never returned. Some of these individuals were experienced outdoorsmen, making their disappearances all the more puzzling. In one particularly chilling account from the early 20th century, a man went out for a routine walk along the lake's shores, only to vanish without a trace. Despite an extensive search, no evidence of his whereabouts was ever found. To this day, his disappearance remains an unsolved mystery, and many believe his spirit still lingers near the lake, perhaps the cause of some of the strange occurrences reported in the area. Adding to the lake's reputation as a place of mystery, there are reports from the mid-20th century of strange lights appearing on the water at night. These lights, often described as glowing orbs, would hover just above the surface of the lake before disappearing into the fog. They were often accompanied by an eerie quietness, and those who witnessed the lights said they felt a strange, unshakable sense of dread. These sightings became so frequent that local folklore developed around them, with some locals claiming that the lights were the spirits of those lost in the lake or the lingering souls of the area's violent past. Spirit Lake's history is complex, woven together by the struggles and tragedies of the people who once inhabited the area. From the Coeur d'Alene tribe's spiritual connection to the lake, to the settlers who faced violence and hardship, and the mysterious disappearances that still puzzle locals, it's clear that Spirit Lake has witnessed a great deal of suffering. Could this troubled history be the key to the strange occurrences that have been reported in the area? As we've seen in previous parts of this story, the legends surrounding Spirit Lake are hard to ignore. Could the paranormal activity be tied to the deep wounds left by this troubled history? In the final part of our story, we will explore the lasting effects of these tragic events, trying to understand how they may have shaped the lake into the haunted location it is today. We'll also delve into some of the most spine-chilling reports from visitors and locals, offering a glimpse of the dark energy that seems to linger at Spirit Lake. Stay tuned as we uncover the final chapter of this mysterious tale. As we've explored in the previous parts of this story, Spirit Lake in northern Idaho is steeped in history, both eerie and tragic. The tales of unexplained phenomena, strange sightings, and ghostly apparitions have left visitors wondering whether the lake is truly haunted or simply a place where the past echoes through time. After all, the unsettling nature of the area, combined with the numerous tragic events that have occurred there, paints a chilling picture of a place where the boundaries between the living and the dead are blurred. The paranormal activity reported at Spirit Lake is not only tied to the past, but it is also very much a part of the present. Locals and visitors alike continue to report strange occurrences, even in modern times. One of the most common experiences shared by those who have spent time at the lake is a sudden drop in temperature, often accompanied by a sense of unease or dread. Many who have visited the lake late at night or during the early morning hours have reported hearing disembodied voices, soft whispers, often indecipherable, carried across the still waters. These unsettling sounds seem to come from nowhere, adding to the mystery of the place. Perhaps one of the most chilling aspects of Spirit Lake's haunting is the way it seems to affect those who visit. Numerous individuals, including paranormal investigators and locals, have reported vivid and unsettling dreams after spending time near the lake. These dreams often include strange visions of people or events from the past, leading many to believe that the lake holds an unusual energy, one that taps into the spiritual realm and brings forth memories and souls long since passed. There are also the more traditional ghostly sightings. Some claim to have seen the faint outline of a woman in white, walking along the shores of Spirit Lake, her figure barely visible through the fog that often hangs in the air. Others have reported seeing shadowy figures moving across the landscape, figures that vanish as quickly as they appear, leaving nothing behind but the sense that something is watching. One particularly unsettling account comes from a group of hikers who were exploring the wooded areas around Spirit Lake. As they ventured deeper into the forest, They found themselves surrounded by a thick fog that seemed to materialize out of nowhere. In the distance, they claimed to have seen a figure standing by the water's edge, holding a lantern. The figure was described as dressed in old-fashioned clothing, but when the hikers approached, the figure disappeared, leaving them with a sense of dread they could not shake off. Some believe that this figure is tied to the area's mining history, representing one of the many miners who tragically lost their lives in accidents at the lake. Others wonder if it could be the spirit of someone lost during one of the many tragic events in the lake's history. In addition to the ghostly apparitions and strange sounds, there are also accounts of people feeling an oppressive, almost suffocating presence while near the lake. This feeling of being watched or followed seems to be a common experience among those who have spent a significant amount of time at Spirit Lake. Many have left the area with a lingering sense of unease, as if something was following them or reaching out to make its presence known. But is Spirit Lake truly haunted, or is it simply a place where the mind plays tricks on the observer? The paranormal activity, the strange visions, and the unsettling feelings that people experience could all be the result of the lake's long and troubled history. Perhaps it is the lingering energy of the land itself, the echoes of past tragedies, and the spirits of those lost in the water that contribute to the eerie atmosphere. Despite the many reports of strange activity, there is no conclusive proof that Spirit Lake is truly haunted. Skeptics argue that the eerie feelings and unexplained events are simply a result of the lake's secluded nature and the human tendency to perceive patterns, especially in places with a dark and tragic history. However, for those who have had personal experiences at Spirit Lake, the question is no longer about whether the lake is haunted. It is about what lies beneath the surface. As we conclude our journey through the haunted history of Spirit Lake, one thing is certain. This eerie location continues to captivate the imagination. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, the stories surrounding the lake are undeniably fascinating. Spirit Lake is a place where the past lingers in the air, and where the veil between the living and the dead seems just a little thinner than in other places. Perhaps in the end, the mystery of Spirit Lake will never be fully solved. It will remain a place where the unknown reigns, leaving us to wonder whether the spirits of the past still walk among us. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the haunted history of Spirit Lake. If you have ever visited or have your own experiences with the supernatural, feel free to share them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories from haunted locations around the world. Who knows what eerie place we'll explore next?